And rising a single notch to number 12 on Casey's Top 40 is a band that won a Grammy in 1994 for Best Rock Gospel Album. It was for their CD, Free at Last. Now this contemporary Christian trio has crossed over to the pop chart with a track from their latest CD, Jesus Freak. Here's DC Talk with Just Between You and Me.
Sorrow is a lonely pit.
That's Toby McKeon, Michael Tate, and Kevin Smith. DC Talk with Just Between You and Me. This week the song climbs a notch to number 12 as the countdown rolls on.
Casey's Top 40.
I'm Casey Kasem on Casey's Top 40. Well, now we're up to DC Talk. They're a contemporary Christian group whose latest CD set a record in album sales, a record previously held by Amy Grant. Toby McKeon, Michael Tate, and Kevin Smith, the three members of DC Talk, got together in Washington, D.C. back in 1989. They quickly developed a sound that was unusual for bands in the contemporary Christian community. It was a blend of rock and rap the group describes as Christian hip-hop. Their first album, simply called DC Talk, was a minor hit, and it earned them a faithful following, a following that continues to grow. In fact, their second album went gold. Their third album went platinum and even earned them a Grammy. And DC Talk's latest album, called Jesus Freak, has gotten off to a very good start. When it came out last December, copies of the CD practically flew off the shelves. And when all the receipts were added up, after only its first week in release, the album had sold an astounding 85,000 copies. Now that's more copies than any other contemporary Christian album has sold in its first week in history. That shattered the previous record set by Amy Grant back in 1994 when her CD House of Love sold 55,000 copies in its first week. Now, 11 months later, the first pop hit from Jesus Freak is moving up our survey, climbing 4 notches to number 23 on Casey's Top 40. This is DC Talk with Just Between You and Me.
Sorrow is a lonely pit.
With Just Between You and Me, that's DC Talk, a group whose name stands for Decent Christian Talk. This week they jumped 4 notches to number 23. And tumbling 7 notches to 34 is one of the hottest contemporary Christian acts of the past year. Their latest CD, Jesus Freak, has sold more than 1 million copies and earned a Grammy nomination for Best Rock Gospel Album. And the first pop hit from that CD recently climbed all the way to number 12. Here it is, Just Between You and Me, DC Talk.
Sorrow is a lonely feeling.
Dropping 7 notches to number 34, that's Kevin Smith, Michael Tate, and Toby McKeon. The group DC Talk with Just Between You and Me.